Continuing now with our lead story, hate speech in America. With us, Dr. Marc Lamont, who teaches at Columbia University. So look, there are bias crimes in this country. If somebody comes up to you and yells the N-word in your face, all right, you can have him arrested.
Yeah.
He can be arrested, all right, and that's freedom of speech. He's, obviously saying what he wants to say, but because you are an African-American, because you're a minority, you stand outside a temple with a SWAT sticker on your sign, person can be arrested. Yet, these judges say, well, if you're the Snyder family, white, and you're doing vile things, just as vile as what I demonstrated to you in the temple analogy, you can do it. And I think that's what most people go, that's wrong.
Well, the judges aren't saying it's because they're white. They're simply saying that they haven't violated any laws.
But they would have if the family had been African-American and they were screaming the N-word across from the family.
That may or may not be true. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal expert. I can't say. What I know for sure is that the protection of free speech is a critical thing for all American people.
Everybody knows that.
That organization is vile. They're disgusting, and I wish something bad would happen to them legally. However, I don't think they violated any rules, and I think the judges had a responsibility.
But if they violate the rules by going up to you and saying the N-word in your face, don't you see it as a double standard that they don't violate the rules when it's a white family involved?
I'm not necessarily in support of laws that punish people purely for using the N-word in public. It depends on what the context is.
You're not for bias crimes?
Well, bias crimes is a little different. What I'm saying is just the use of the N-word itself doesn't constitute a bias crime.
It comes under that banner.
Right, and what I'm saying is just the use of an offensive word in and of itself, to me, is not enough. I believe in free speech, and I believe in protecting free speech.
The judges that made the ruling in the Snyder case, Megan was right when she said they didn't have to, they didn't need to, her word was need, say you don't have to pay court costs. They didn't need to explain the intentional infliction of emotional distress, and two of them didn't. Okay.
Right.
I say they have a moral obligation to do it in that kind of a high-profile case.
I try not to mix that moral obligation with the legal obligation. And as an American,
I want that.
And as an American, my sole concern, my primary priority is making sure that they follow the law and that they read the Constitution and follow it. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. Would it be nice? Yes.
Martin Luther King brought the moral thing in.
But he wasn't a judge, Bill.
Yeah, but you're not a judge either.
Exactly. And so we may in public space articulate those rules. Megan may articulate those rules. But as judges, they don't necessarily have to do that.
They don't have to,
would
but
it be
they
nice?
Should.
What? Bill, I'm not arguing the case that they should or should not.
Why not? That's what I'm asking.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Shouldn't they or
I'm saying it would be nice, but I don't want to say that they must. The only thing, it would be great. But what they must do is follow the rules in the law, and that's what they did.
Okay. You're waffling here.
I'm not waffling.
Look,
I'm saying follow the law. It would be great, but
I want judges to be human beings.
No,
and
but see,
these judges met all Americans.
And that's a slippery slope, Bill, because when you start...
I know, it's a slippery slope to have human beings.
No. Because when you start talking about human beings, that's the argument for activist judges. Activist judges say all the time that as a human being, I have to invoke rules that might counter a literalist reading of a Constitution.
You can go by the letter of the law, but remember, they had the discretion to do what they wanted to do.
But sometimes being...
Like if they were locked in...
No, but Bill, you just talked about Martin Luther King. Sometimes being a human being means challenging the law or changing the law, even as a judge.
It's not their job.
That's my point. It's not their
the judge's job.
No, it might be nice, but it's not their job.
Under the law, they had discretion and they didn't use it.
But it's not their job. It's not their responsibility to. It would just be nice.
It is to me.
That's why you're not a judge.
You follow, like everybody else, the gauntlet line when the African-American congresspeople walked in to vote on health care, and you saw, and we believe some vile stuff was said.
Of course.
It's not on tape. We don't know what exactly. You saw this. Okay. What's the difference between that and the Westboro funeral controversy?
My argument is that there isn't a huge difference.
There isn't.
I don't want to see anything happen to either of them if they're just simply saying things that we may find offensive. I am all about protecting free speech. Now, if they lay their hands on someone, if they do something that's some kind of hate crime or intimidation tactic, that's something different if it crosses the line. But just saying offensive words, whether it's the N-word, the F-word...
No matter how much emotional damage they inflict, you say they have the right to do it.
As long as it's not illegal, I don't want to intervene. We have to protect free speech.
Emotional distress is illegal in the civil realm.
In the civil realm.
Right, and they won, and that's what we're talking about.
And if you want to make a legal argument for that, fine, but I am not going to police their speech any more than I want my speech policed or your speech policed.
So you're an anything-goes guy?
I'm not anything goes. I'm fairly liberal on some matters, but I do believe in free speech.
All right. Dr. Hill, everybody, there he is.